Welcome back in Niaga AWANI. InvestKL has successfully secured 3.3 billion ringgit in investments, creating over 3,000 high-value regional jobs through the establishment of 6 global services hubs. And of course, these investments secured amidst the global challenges, as we all know, and reaffirm Greater Kuala Lumpur or Greater KL's appeal as a top investment destination, and bolstered by countries' ease of doing business, one thing, and robust infrastructure, and also skilled talent pool and vibrant ecosystem driven by collaboration and also innovation. And for the record, Malaysia also recorded an impressive first quarter 2024 investment progress of 83.7 billion ringgit, a 13% increase over the same period last year, and of course of which 47 or 39.3 billion ringgit are from the services sector, marking a shift towards service-oriented investments. And joining me to discuss further on this is Datuk Muhammad Azmi Zulkifli, CEO of InvestKL. Datuk, thank you so much for joining us. Now, first of all, let's talk about the economy first before we deep dive into the InvestKL performance. Malaysia's growth, if you look at second quarter, 5.9%, but the first half is positive, of course. And as we do the recording right now, our inflation is pretty much manageable at 2% in July. And how does this economic trajectory basically translate into more inflow of foreign direct investments, FDI, into the country?
Yes, 2024 is interesting, where we see many of the foundations, fundamentals, as well as policies that were laid out from 2023 are into context or coming online in 2024. We see a robust economy, we see a robust infrastructure that has developed, and we see a steady talent pool growing in that respect. The second quarter GDP was good, and that really shows the contribution of investments, either foreign as well as domestic investments in the country, on the back of other activities in these areas. Now, we will also good to mention to see that Malaysia have also focused on a number of industries. A number of policies have also been in place to set the stage towards the next 3 to 5 years. And I guess that would provide a lot more certainty to investors when they assess Malaysia as a location for investment.
Of course, I need to ask this first, because when we said about attracting all these investments, they're coming in big numbers. The big questions people would ask is our talent pool. Do we have enough in the pipeline to cater to all in these investments, especially in Kuala Lumpur?
Yeah. Over in Kuala Lumpur today, we see that natural talent would converge in this location. Over and above that, we have a number of public-private institutions of higher learning that are also contributing to that talent flow. Same time, there is also a convergence of local talent and foreign students coming in to create that whole ecosystem into the country. When we talk about investments, it is certainly to look at how companies can come in, ease in themselves, to look at the fresh graduates pipeline, to look at the experienced talent pool, and also the C-suites that they are also part of the whole ecosystem of activities. We have seen positive movements. When I say positive movements, previously our data shows that since 2011, C-suites will usually be held by an expatriate. But over time today, we are seeing C-suites, 80% of them are Malaysians. They are moving up the value chain. Middle management of the C-suites are also being posted overseas so that they come back into the country to lead, to hold leadership roles. And when we look at that too, multinational companies, investors have put in a lot of emphasis to work with academia to build the talent pipeline. That is commendable, because it's not just about talent not available, it's also about wanting to fine-tune them to fit the industry and the culture of the company.
Get them ready of what industry has to offer, basically. But let's talk about the InvestKL in terms of your strategy. we have few economic policies that are in place and running currently. For instance, we have NIMP, New Industrial Master Plan, and of course we have the High Growth, High Value, HGHV, and also an ETR. How does the InvestKL's strategy aligned with all this economic framework and also policies?
For Greater Kuala Lumpur, the focus is to look at high-value, high-tech investments. When we talk about high-value, high-tech investments, this would largely focus on investments in the services sector, or we term it the modern services. We are not saying that we do not want investments that are more land-intensive. That would be best outside of Greater Kuala Lumpur, meaning spillover, positive spillover to other states. Yeah? The National Investment Master Plan, NIMP, the NETR, the National Energy Transition Roadmap, gives a number of emphasis that investors would be curious to explore. Yeah? When we lay out NIMP, there was a clear definition of the industries that we wanted to focus on, which also means the work that will be done within the industry at the small medium enterprise level, at the academia level, at the R&D and innovation level as well. So those are going deeper into the industry areas. We know the energy transition commitment, and that's also something that investors look at as a potential for growth, as an area of opportunity, and at the same time, hovering all this, continuing to position Greater Kuala Lumpur as that regional location for them to launch their activities anywhere else, whether in Southeast Asia or in Asia Pacific.
Of course, Malaysia has been, making significant strides in attracting investments such as data centers, and we have also digital investments and semiconductors, of course. Are we on the right track in terms of positioning Malaysia and Greater Kuala Lumpur as well as a leading investment destinations? And what about the other neighboring countries that are also competitive in that sense?
True. When Malaysia says that our focus is on semiconductor, electrical, electronics, or even data centers for that matter, it also says that we are not ignoring every other industry. Every other industry would have a niche or a pocket of its own to grow and to support the whole ecosystem of activities. The semiconductor needs support from every other industry as well. To come together, to put into all the activities as well as grow in that instance. What we see across the country as well are pockets of activities or investments that are skewed or focused towards those type of focus investments, right? Over time, the development of infrastructure, the development and deepening of talent, as well as positive policies implemented by Malaysia and ensuring market access has really provided that confidence. When an investor comes in, they know that they can have market access not just to Malaysia and Southeast Asia, but beyond to other countries in the world. So that's an important positioning, and as we continue to grow that front, it also helps with the whole ecosystem of public as well as private to support the agenda of growing those investments.
And of course, one of the many challenges that the investors, FDI or DDI face is the red tape. This is something that it's an ongoing process, and we try to improve year by year. But how do you see the whole situation? Where are we right now in terms of improving our ease of doing business, not just for FDI but for DDI as well?
Yeah. The ease of doing business is certainly something that we cannot just be happy with the position or the situation. Traditionally, in country, we have 3 levels of approval: the federal, the state, as well as the local council. Yeah? Today, working with other agencies across the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry as well, we were identifying areas where the red tapes can be cut, where certain definitions can be simplified. And the definitions needs to be across the ministries too. Yeah? When we say that, is like this. When an investment comes in, it is probably an investment in the agriculture sector. However, from the investment side, it will be handled by MITI as a ministry. and the need for support from Ministry of Agriculture. So that alignment needs to be in place, and that definition needs to be in place. Same time, we have also set up, the country and the government have also set up one-stop centers to facilitate licensing, renewals, and so on. And it must be lauded, the positive movements in on the immigration front, towards visa-free approach, towards easing those type of processes. This will entail, gives that positive feeling among expatriates, positive feeling among foreign investors, and how they could put all those things into context. This should also then be linked toward direct investment, I mean domestic investment, right? It's not just about foreign investors. Foreign investors will grow when domestic investors grows as well. It has to be hand in hand, because the key to having the supply chain spillover in Malaysia, working with small, medium enterprises to support the whole business community as they move forward.
Let's talk about the achievement by InvestKL, 3.3 billion ringgit in the first half of 2024. Of course, there's a good contribution to the nation's FDI milestone. Can you provide more insights on the number of 3.3 billion and what types of investments that have been secured?
Yeah, the first half of the year was interesting, where we saw companies coming in or interested parties coming in asking a number of questions. Policy certainty was one question. The geopolitical balance is another question that's on top of the agenda. Plus, the fears of new tariffs being put in place were also part of the whole conversation. That's where we saw companies that have grown, and in this instance, the 3.3 billion was an investment that I must say is very balanced across investments from America, from China, as well as from Europe. You could see one investor completely relocating their engineering hub from another location, a regional hub, into Kuala Lumpur. That is a significant movement, with that company being in that other location for the past 30 years. So that's a big movement there. You could see companies that are also in the data center space coming into Greater KL, setting up activities that would serve the region, not just Malaysia as a country, but serving the region. We see company that is enabling the ecosystem. When I say enabling an ecosystem, a prominent international recruitment firm coming in to establish their regional hub in Greater Kuala Lumpur, to certainly have that ecosystem connection with multinationals coming in, talent mobility, having expertise in respective industries, which also gives a lot of positive image towards the country. The other one that I like to mention also is a company that does food labeling. They have been in the country doing manufacturing over 20 years now. However, when looking at the regional hub, they were looking at Greater KL, and they established their regional hub in Greater KL, and they are proud to say that this is their first regional hub focusing on activities in finance, HR, IT, first outside of America. So that's a significant moving up the value chain for their investments in the country. So all in all, it was a good balance of geopolitical areas, a good balance of activities, not just heavy industry, but also in the IT sector, and a good balance of talent capture. It's not just leaning towards engineering, it's also having all the other disciplines put in place.
Dato', help us to understand as well, what kind of narrative do we put out there, and how do we sell ourselves, for InvestKL especially, other than the other locations or other countries as well? Because I want to talk about the inclusive growth, because people people think that if the investment comes from China, they have to bring their talent pool, and from America they have to bring expatriates and all that. But is that the case? And what kind of narrative do we sell? Do they have to follow certain rules when investing in Malaysia?
Yeah, this is where when an investor explores a location, we need to have a balance of policy plus flexibility. When I say that, companies exploring has setting up their regional hub in Greater KL does not have any particular condition. When I say particular condition, for example, you must hire X number of Malaysian and you can only be allowed to bring X number of expats. You must not just use foreign content, you must also use local content in that respect. However, for multinational companies, when they expand, they know that for them to be successful, for them to be able to sustain in a particular location, they need to integrate with the ecosystem. Gone are the days that you come in, you parachute X number of people, 100 people, and you operate from that sense. Why we say that is because it's not a sustainable model. If you bring in 100 expats, you need to provide housing, schooling, and all sorts of other allowances. Right? For a company to be sustainable, they would strike a balance between local plus foreign. And over time, we see that 90% of the jobs are occupied by Malaysians, leaving maybe a CFO, which will be an expat. Right? So that's the balance that we see. Same time, integration to the supply chain. What does it mean if you just come in and bring your whole supply chain with you instead of integrating locally?
Local vendors,
because when you integrate locally, a company can leverage on the free trade agreements that Malaysia has.
Right.
That's very important. The third part that I would give credit to is to integrate with the talent. We have a very diverse talent, a very culturally advanced talent as well, and that would certainly help companies in their expansion plan. When they wanted to expand in Asia Pac, when they wanted to expand to the Middle East, the integration from Malaysia is much greater in that respect. When we look at that too, we know that today Greater Kuala Lumpur has about 8 million people. And majority of them, I must say, are people who migrate from outside of Kuala Lumpur, from the states in the north, in the east, and in the south as well, including myself. So, and these are people who are just coming here to have a living, to improve their economic condition, and at the same time not forgetting their roots from whichever state they are coming from. So I see that as an inclusive development from Greater Kuala Lumpur, with positive spillover all throughout the country.
Okay, my final questions, because we're going to be the chairman of ASEAN next year, so certainly this is the door of opportunity for InvestKL and also other region as well. But how do you see that being the chairman of ASEAN would open the door to attract more policies, and what kind of narrative we should put forth in terms of attracting more FDIs and more DDIs to come into InvestKL, Greater KL, and also other region as well?
Yeah, the chairmanship of ASEAN is timely. When we say timely, it's because our economy have progressed significantly. This is reflected in the stock market. This is also reflected in the currency, the improvement of the currency. And this is the time for Malaysia to define on the ASEAN as well as global map what are the focus or what are the direction for ASEAN moving forward, right? And defining that would certainly provide companies, investors that bit of certainty of what ASEAN wanted to be. The mobility of ASEAN, the improved of the logistics and supply chain within ASEAN, and how that can be a positive impact towards the whole area. Leveraging on the free trade agreements that ASEAN has to also access markets abroad. That's an also important element as we build all these topics moving forward. Putting all that together, looking at ASEAN as not just the next biggest economy of the world, but having the position to also access many other markets. And that's where companies are looking at, investors are looking at how to access. Not to forget, with chairmanship of ASEAN is also to position our local businesses, our local industries, to position them with smart partnerships with foreign countries, to have placements of activities, to increase the activities in R&D and innovation, and to a certain extent as well, to address or to look at how we can grow the energy transition decision or discussions for ASEAN finding a solution moving forward.
Okay. Lastly, do you already have your target for second half of attracting investment in terms of numbers, dollar and cents maybe, and also next year?
The first half of the year is certainly an optimistic result, but we continue to drive the capabilities of what can be done in the second half. Right? The markets have improved, and the currency has also improved, and this is where we see that we are optimistic that we could get a lot more investments, quality as well, to integrate with the industries that Malaysia focused on, to integrate with the capabilities of our talent, and to also be supportive of the infrastructure that we have for the whole of Malaysia.
All right, Datuk, thank you so much for joining us at this time. Datuk Muhammad Azmi Zulkifli, CEO of InvestKL, and we wish all the best for second quarter and also full year 2024, and also next year 2025 when we become the chairman of ASEAN.